Hi everybody, so today we're going to be talking about meninges, and basically what meninges are is they are protective coverings that surround the brain and the spinal cord. So there's actually 3 layers to the meninges, and that's what we're going to go over today. So the first layer is the outer layer. It's called the Dura Mater, and as we say here, it's called the tough mother because it's the thickest outer layer, so it's pretty tough, right? The second layer we have is the Arachnoid Mater, which we call the spidery layer. And underneath the arachnoid, we have the Subarachnoid Space. In this Subarachnoid Space, we have a fluid called cerebrospinal fluid. The cerebrospinal fluid is going to supply nourishment and lubrication to the meninges. So we'll be looking at that in just a minute. And then on the inner layer, we have the pia mater, which is the delicate mother. And they call it the delicate mother because it's the inside one, it's the thinnest layer, and it's the most innermost layer, and it actually attaches to the brain. So let's go ahead and take a look at these here. And the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to draw the cerebrum. I'm going to draw the brain. So if we take a look, this is my cerebrum right here. I'm going to draw the pituitary gland. I'm going to draw it kind of big. Okay, but the pituitary gland actually hangs off of the cerebrum. And then the cerebrum is the big part of the brain. Okay. Then I'm going to draw the brainstem. So this is my brainstem here. This would be my pons, my medulla oblongata, and then my spinal cord would be here. Again, I'm not going to draw the whole spinal cord, but this will give you an idea. Normally, hanging off like a bell off of the back of the brain is the cerebellum, but I'm going to draw the cerebellum back in here. Okay, so this is going to be my cerebellum. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm going to be writing it here. This is my brainstem. And like I said, so down here would be the spinal cord. This is going to be my pituitary gland. That's right there. So let's go ahead and get started. And the innermost layer, like we said, is going to be my pia mater. So my pia mater is the thinnest inner layer. It's going to surround my brain. And I should be drawing this right against this black line. I'm just not that steady of a hand. But this would be the pia mater. Okay? And then we're going to have extensions of the pia mater coming into the brain. So let me just write this right here. So there's our pia mater, the thinnest inner layer. The next layer now I'm going to have would be my arachnoid. And if you notice, I am leaving a space because like we said, we're going to have the arachnoid space. So the blue line that you see right here is actually the arachnoid. So this is my arachnoid. And then we are going to have something called trabeculae that's going to attach this to the pia mater. And it's in this area in here that we are going to have our cerebrospinal fluid. So this is my trabeculae right here. And I'm making it look like this is all pretty thick, the meninges, and I'm not even done yet. But I'm making it look like it's pretty thick. And for the most part, this is kind of thin, but it still does a good job. Where you see this in here, this is my subarachnoid space. So let's write that in there. Subarachnoid space. Okay, and like we said, in here, we're going to have a fluid called cerebrospinal fluid. Now, after the arachnoid, the next thing that's going to come up is going to be my inner Dura Mater. So here comes my inner Dura Mater, and you'll notice there's a space here. This is going to be called the subdural space. That is going to be between my inner Dura Mater and my arachnoid. All right, so this is going to be my inner Dura Mater. It's going to be right there. Okay, and now if I have an inner Dura Mater, that means I must have an, before I go there. So right here I'm going to have my subdural space. So I have a subarachnoid space, and now I have a subdural space, okay? And now I'm going to have, if I have an inner Dura Mater, I must have an outer Dura Mater. So here's my outer Dura Mater. And if you notice, there's another space right here also. So this space is going to have a different name. And this space is going to be called my dural sinus right here. So my dural sinus is going to be between my outer Dura Mater and my inner Dura Mater. The subdural space is going to be between my inner Dura Mater and my arachnoid and my, let's see if I can clean this up a little bit. And my subarachnoid space is going to be under the arachnoid and, or between the arachnoid and the pia mater. So this is my outer Dura Mater. And if I take my two Dura Maters and put them together, I am going to get something that is called the Dura Mater. So the Dura Mater is made up of two pieces, the outer Dura Mater and the inner Dura Mater. Okay, so let's take a look at a little bit more here. If you notice between my cerebellum and my cerebrum, I have a whole bunch of meninges going in there. They fold in there, right? So this area that you see right in here, where there's all those meninges between the cerebellum and the cerebrum, we're going to call this the Tentorium Cerebelli. All right, so this is my Tentorium Cerebelli that's going to be in this area that's right in here. Now, if you notice in the cerebellum, you're looking at this as a two-dimensional object, but in the back of the cerebellum, you actually have an infolding, right? So I'd have an infolding that goes in there, and these meninges would actually fold and go into that area. So let me give you an idea of what I'm talking about. If this is the cerebellum, imagine I pull it out, and now we're looking at it from the back. I'm going to turn the back towards you and you'll see there's black tape. Imagine the black tape is an infolding. So I have meninges that are going in there. Where the meninges go into that infolding on the posterior cerebellum is going to be called the falx cerebelli. So once again, I'm just going to take this, my cerebellum is going to be like this. I'm going to have this little infolding in here. All right, that's the infolding. And then what would happen is the meninges are going to fold into this. Okay, and where the meninges fold into the cerebellum in the back here, this is going to be called the falx cerebelli. Okay, and again, that's where they fold into the cerebellum. Now, if you notice over here, we have our pituitary gland, and we have meninges going around this. This is just a real easy explanation. We call this the diaphragma cellae. That's where my meninges surround my pituitary gland. And then finally what we have is you look at the cerebrum from an angle like this. Now, the cerebrum is basically made up of a right and left hemisphere. So if these are my two hemispheres, you're looking at it like this, right? You'd be looking at it like this, and there's a little open in the middle, which we call the longitudinal fissure. So these are my hemispheres. You're looking at the brain from the top down. Okay, so you're looking at my brain from the top down. Actually, imagine if I'm laying like this, and now you took off my skull, and you're looking at it from the top down. So this would be my right hemisphere. That would be my left. And then what's going to happen is this opening right here is called my longitudinal. This is called my longitudinal fissure. Okay? And once again, I am going to have meninges coming into here, into that folding that's on the top. Okay? Those are going to have meninges in there. And where the meninges come into the longitudinal fissure, we're going to call that the falx cerebri. Okay? So if you look now, we have meninges are going into the longitudinal fissure, right? They're going into the longitudinal fissure there. That's the falx cerebri, where they surround the pituitary gland is the diaphragma sellae, and where they go into the area between the cerebellum and the cerebrum is going to be called my Tentorium Cerebelli, and where they go into the infold in the back is the falx cerebelli. So that's basically it for the meninges. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please hit the like and subscribe button, and thanks again for watching.